Hello, everybody. Come right on in. This is Robin Fahmy. The podcast is Switch to Solar and Make It Work for You. We're going to be talking today all about solar and how to make solar energy make sense for the masses because you are the X factor when it comes to solar. And what I mean by that is the industry cannot exist without you as the homeowner, consumer, buying into solar, meaning that you have invited me into your home as I am now inviting you into the podcast area. And I'm asking you to take a seat because we're going to act as if you, yes, you, are the only person that I am speaking to. I am in your home. I am sitting at your kitchen table across from you, and we're talking about solar and how to make solar energy make sense to you because there are so many moving parts. I like to say that understanding solar should not be difficult. It really should not be difficult. But I do want you to understand that there are lots of moving parts. And that's what I am here for, is to help you understand all of these moving parts, all of the components that make solar energy make sense for you as a consumer, so that when you make that choice, you have been educated and you are able now to make an intelligent decision. So, once again, I am Robin Fahmy. My business is Better Me, Better You, solar energy, sales, and project management. What I do is sell solar panels. You know, when you're driving around and you see the panels on the homes, that's what I do, is I help homeowners make the decision to buy solar panels. And the way that we do that is we empower you as the homeowner and businesses to, through education-based marketing and in-home presentations, we empower you to consciously make the choice to switch to solar. And as I say often, when you make that switch, solar, it will work for you if you know how to work it. So come on in and get comfortable. If anyone who is listening, if you have questions, you can give me a call at 214-497-7440, and I will take the call live on air. So just know that you will be a live caller. And if you want to ask questions off the air, you can send me a text to that same number. It's really, 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 really important that I stay out here where you are, sharing information about solar. Tonight, I am going to, before I move forward, ask you to let people know about Robin Fahmy, solar, energy, sales, and project management. If people are out there wondering if solar is good for them, if it works, how do I get started to move in that direction? Have them call me or have them tune in on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. And we will be here live on Facebook as well as live on YouTube. So come on in because I really have something to tell you about today. You know, I'm always talking to you, the consumer, you, the homeowner, and sharing information that I hope makes a difference for you, especially regarding solar. And, you know, we just have to kind of change the way we think about things, and solar and your electricity and how you generate electricity and how you use it. All of that is a part of what we're doing here. But tonight, I've got to tell you about a situation that happened to me today. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of situations. One is I do sell solar panels, okay? But I am a magnet for people who have solar already installed on their roofs, and for some reason it's not working. Those people seem to find me. Okay, the solar is there, it's not working. The company that installed it for them is no longer in business. So they really don't know who to talk to try and fix the problem. But they find me, and I am an excellent problem solver because I understand the dynamics of solar and how it works. We are able to help homeowners with existing systems recreate the details, because if the installation company is out of business and they don't have numbers, they don't have contact people, what do we do? So once your solar system is installed on your home, you have permission to operate. That means now you're connected through your energy provider, or that company that's delivering the energy. You're all set and ready to go, but you don't have a contact person. When we recreate details and there is not an installer or the company that you bought it from, if they are totally out of the picture, then we have to look to some other areas to try and fix this. One thing we can do is we can call your electricity company, and if that system has ever worked, then they may have a history of it. And they may also be able to tell us the last time that they noticed that it was working. So that's one thing that we can do. Usually, also, once your system is installed and it's complete, you're going to be connected with a company that is monitoring that production from the standpoint of the inverters. Um, you've got companies like Solar Edge and Enphase. If it's one of them, then we can reach out to them to see if they still have you in their database as one of their customers, because you do have a warranty on those inverters. And so if they do still have you in their database, we can maybe get a little information from them, but usually that company is going to take their lead from the installer. So if your installer is out of business, your system is not working, then now what we have to do, after we have recreated as much detail as possible, now we have to get an installer involved to get up on the roof and do an assessment on your system. And then from that point, they can let us know what we need to do next. It may be something very simple as a wiring problem. Maybe your wires have come loose, or maybe your inverters are not working, but we have to run a test on that system. Now, sometimes systems are on homes, trees are nearby. Maybe the trees are not creating coverage on your particular roof, but they are still close enough that squirrels, can get on your rooftop. And sometimes the squirrels will eat the wires and things of that nature, which could cause a disconnect, causing your solar panel system not to operate properly. So there are so many different facets and so many different ways to think about this whole process. And I want you to know that if you are hearing my voice and you are someone who has solar panels on your rooftop and your panels are not working, you need to give me a call. I am here in the Dallas area, DeSoto, Texas, and I can install really anywhere in Texas. So it doesn't matter where you are, we can still talk and maybe help solve your problem. There is a customer that I'm working with now who has had solar panels installed on her roof since 2017. However, let's see, 17, 18, 19, 21, 2, 3, 6 years ago. But they have not worked. They have not produced any energy for the last 3 or 4 years. And, I met her and she told me about her problem. And I'm confident that we can get her on the right track. But I'm just saying that so that you all will understand that if you're one of the people who bought solar early on, and now the installer is no longer in business, your system doesn't work, you're still paying the finance bill, or sometimes people will refinance their homes and pay the solar off. And if that is the case, then you've just got this system sitting on your roof and it's not a benefit at all. So we need to correct that problem. What I am proposing here is helping you to make solar energy make sense. There are so many components. I mean, maybe the next time I'll come and bring some tips and just outline a variety of the components. But now, for those of you who have been listening to me for a while, or, I've been on now for about 2 months. And so, for those of you who have been listening for a while, you might recall that I am a stickler for understanding your electricity bill. And especially if you are switching to solar, understand the solar buyback programs, understand how all of the intricacies of the electricity company is going to make a difference in your life. And I say that because it really does. What did we say, or what have we said before? Solar energy is renewable energy, meaning that if you have a system on your roof and you have got excellent, excellent sun, you're there's nothing obstructing your roof. There's no shading or anything. So you are getting good direct sunlight. That sun is beaming down on your panels as a direct energy current. Then it goes through the inverter process, and that energy becomes AC. Okay. And that is what we use in our homes. And so now you are a energy producing plant, just like any other plants that are generating energy. You become just like them. And the energy that you're producing in the daytime is the energy that you're using in your home in the daytime. But what? When the sun goes down and there is no more sunlight, then your panels are not producing any more energy. So at some point, uh, your production goes back to the grid. At night, you are pulling from the grid just like everybody else. The only thing that makes you different and special is the daylight, the sunlight. And when that sun is out, you're producing, and you're a little bit different than your neighbors who don't have solar because you are producing your own energy. At that point, during the day, you are an efficient power plant. Now, hear me good and understand, because what I want to do is help you to realize all of the details concerning solar. A lot of times when you have the representatives sit in your house across from you, they will tell you so much, and maybe it's all they know, but you have to become intelligent enough to know the questions to ask so that if you make that choice, it is a conscious choice that you've made with understanding. So, another thing that we have talked about in the past 8 weeks is what solar does is helps to reduce and or eliminate the electricity bill, the electricity usage portion of your bill, because you have to understand that your bill is not just all electricity usage. When you get your bill, you have to start paying attention to it. And what I mean by that is you're using kilowatt hours of energy. Like last month, I used 978 kilowatts hours of energy. Okay. That's how much I pulled from the grid. I produced, I think it was 1,485 kilowatts, but I pulled 978 from the grid. So 978 kilowatts, I subtract that from 1485, and I think the amount of overproduction that I actually sent back to the grid and got credit for was 475 kilowatts. However, that 978 kilowatts, I paid $10 and not $10, but 10.35 cent per kilowatt, and that came out to $101. Now, because I have recently switched to another energy company, my contract was up, so I had to do some research and figure out, okay, where do I go now to get the absolute best deal for my solar buyback? So 978 kilowatts, equated to $101 based on paying 10.35 cent per kilowatt. Now, because I have a 1-to-1 solar buyback, that meant that they paid me back the same $101 for the usage. So actually, my solar production equaled my usage. Okay. So what I paid for it is what they paid me back for it. Now I had 475 kilowatts left over that I sent to the grid. Now that energy was enough. That credit was enough to cover my entire bill. It covered the base charges, it covered the delivery charges, and here in Dallas, where I am, Encore is our delivery provider, energy delivery provider. They also charge a small amount for doing that. And my bill was totally paid for, all except $4.50. So usually my bill would come in at zero, but I'm on a new program, a new system. I have to learn how they operate and then figure out how to adjust what I do in my home so that I can have more production so that everything is covered. Because I really don't need and don't want even a $4.50 electricity bill. Now, you may say you're paying only $4.50 this month. Yes, that's what I'm paying. But keep in mind that my solar panel system, I pay for that every month. Every month, I know what I'm paying on those panels. Eventually, when my system is paid off, I will be totally, totally, totally in the clear because I won't be making payments on the panel system. And if I do have to pay anything, it will be something as simple as $4, $5, very, very, very minimal. However, my objective is to get myself a battery so that instead of that overproduction going to the grid, it now will be stored in my battery So at night, I will be using energy that is stored in my battery, meaning that now the only thing that I will have to pay, if anything, will still be a simple small fee. But what I wanted to bring to your attention specifically tonight, and I was very, very excited when this opportunity presented itself. As I just mentioned, I just recently switched electricity companies. The new company that I'm with, I'm not going to call any names right now, but the new company that I'm with, everything that they told me about my solar buyback and my bill and how all of that was going to work was just wonderful. And I decided that I would give them a call to just check my bill. But when I made the switch, as we were going through all of the details, the salesperson for the company asked me and my husband if we wanted to optimize our energy even more by using a smart thermometer. Okay, so she told us about the thermometer, the benefits, the features, and things like that. And then she said that what will happen is that at some point when it's really, really hot, when there are lots of people with their air conditioning running constantly and things like that, then their company or somebody would have remote access to our thermostat, meaning that remotely they could come in to our thermostat and adjust the temperature up a couple of degrees. So if they're adjusting the temperature up a couple of degrees, they're trying to relieve the stress on the grid, right? So at the time that was introduced to us, both my husband and I said, absolutely not. We do not want anybody with remote access, to our thermostat. So the lady said, well, you can override it. So override it. Okay. That seemed a little more reasonable to us. Uh, so we decided, okay, we'll take that. Now remember, this is all about energy optimization, meaning ways to cause your uh, air conditioner maybe not to run so hard and so long, and just to reduce your energy usage during those times. So, what we thought is that, okay, we can override it, that there was a way that we could set it to override, meaning that no one would have remote access for any reason at any time unless we decided to change that setting. Okay, so I'm just doing what I do, which is caring for my solar energy system and anything that I have done to make adjustments in how I use energy. So I called to check on my bill, got all that straight. So now my next question is, what about this optimization thermostat? Because we've had it for almost 30 days and we realized that, we don't really need it. Why did we really buy it? So I expressed that we don't want this thermostat. I was told that, well, we can't take it back. The only way, the only way that you can get rid of the optimization portion of it or the thermostat is to buy your way out of it. So really, they sold us a thermostat, which, it didn't sound like that's what they were doing at the time they, introduced it. They present it as you're going to optimize your energy and we're going to put this smart thermostat in your home and it will be accessed remotely, blank, blank, blank. Okay, so now I find out I really don't want it. I don't need it. We just really talked about it. and realized that it was kind of a decision that we really shouldn't have made. But the more I talked to the company about this optimization feature, I found out that it should have been free for the first 3 months, which for me, it wasn't. I was already being charged. And then what they said was that, okay, it has to be installed first. And once it's installed, then you will go into rotation for the next 3 months free. Well, I didn't like that at all. Then I find out that overriding the system does not mean what I believed overriding meant. Now, mind you, at the time that we were talking about all of this, my husband and I were having this conversation with the salesperson on the line who could hear us. And if that person heard us talking about we didn't want anyone accessing, then, from my perspective, she should have gone in a little bit deeper to help us understand more of what that meant so that we could make what? An intelligent decision. But none of that happened. Okay, so I could get no resolve on that first day. Then I called back, still no resolve. Then, my case gets escalated to a manager. I wait, no call back. So finally, today, I call back and I do get the manager, and he's talking to me about all of the benefits and the features and optimizing my energy. And I do have the ability to override, but if they come in and raise my temperature, then I have to be constantly going to lower it, but maybe not as often as I'm thinking, because these energy events don't happen every day. They happen when we're having these 3-digit temperature days and things of that nature, and we're really, really, really wreaking havoc on the grid. So my conversation with him was, um, when we talked to your salesperson, they did not fully disclose, what this really meant for us. And basically, you're asking me, a solar energy customer, to optimize my energy usage. And so the more I talked to him, the more I realized that really, yes, you can talk to me as a customer, but as a solar energy customer who is producing the energy that I use in the daytime during the day. So I'm not pulling from the grid in the day. So why would you want to adjust my thermostat? And, I'm not taking anything away from you during the daytime. So what that would mean is that perhaps I would be producing slightly more to send back to the grid. So, it kind of would balance itself out, but I'm not the right person to ask to do that. Now, some people who have solar systems on their home and they're not producing as much, then maybe they might be the right customer. But from what I could gather from talking to him was, I don't want the thermostat. You need to cancel the contract, and you are welcome to come and pick up this thermostat, because actually I already had a smart thermostat. So why would I trade one for the other? But really, it happened to me because I did not have enough information. That salesperson did not fully disclose all of the details for me to figure out that, okay, this is not what I need. And that's what happens to us all the time. If I were not solar educated, if I did not have the logical knowledge that I have regarding solar, then maybe I would not have been able to talk with intelligence to say, hey, I wasn't the right fit for this sale. And actually, maybe you need to add a few more questions to your script. Like, I see that you are a solar customer. How long have you had solar? How old is your air conditioning unit? What temperature do you normally keep your air conditioning set at? And a few more things that would make us agree together that, yeah, optimizing my energy might be something good for me. But what happened? As we were in conversation about switching, and then, she threw in this item and the term optimizing, which your brain hears that, and basically it sounds like optimizing. That means I'm going to get a little bit more for my money. But you're not really getting anything more for your money because you're paying $9.95 a month to have this thermostat in your home that allows remote access to your energy. So, you know what I'm saying? If we had understood fully all of the details, then it would have been a no brainer that it was not something we were going to do. And another thing, during the first call, I was told that, there was nothing they could do. They couldn't cancel the optimization or whatever. Then I make that second and third phone call. You get different people. Different people have different knowledge and they share differently. And this person today was like, well, I will cancel the optimization for you. So I'm like, so now are you telling me that you can cancel it, but I can keep the thermostat, but nobody will ever access it remotely? And the answer was yes. I'm like, well, why didn't I know that earlier? So now I've got a trust issue. Let me tell you all, my friends, I am the most transparent person that you will ever work with because I believe that I will treat you the way that I want to be treated. Now, I'm not saying that anything was done on purpose just to make a sale. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is that once I understood more about how the optimization program worked through installing a new smart meter, then I became smarter. I love it. I actually became smarter and was able to talk intelligently and logically, using logic with that representative. And he understood I don't want it and was able to cancel everything. And they will be picking up that thermostat next week. But I must say that the customer service was excellent. It was excellent. I started out speaking with the what do you call it? The people in the office, the phone bank people. They were nice. I mean, they were doing their job, the portion that they do and that they know how to do. But I was not satisfied with the offering, and I just refused to give up. So now I'm escalated to a supervisor, and that particular supervisor, he was excellent. I don't take anything away from him. He listened to me, he understood what I wanted and why I wanted it. And then he did it. He approved it and it made it happen. So the customer service through this company was great. And I will refer to them because I think they're a good company. I think everything that I went through was great. But I wanted to bring that to you all and share it with you so that you understand that everybody gets caught in the trap every now and then. But the key is, how do you get out of that trap? How do you get yourself untangled? Because I really was not about to pay $290. Okay? to buy myself out of something that I did not have full disclosure, which would have given me the ability to make a different decision. So just know, with everything, there's always something that really doesn't make sense. My job out here is to help you make solar energy make sense. Okay? If that is something that you're interested in, maybe you just want to talk about solar and understand it better. Maybe you're not ready to buy. That's okay, because guess what? I love solar energy, and I mean that. My passion has found me. I have done a lot of things during my lifetime. Um, it's been beautiful. I have traveled. I have worked in corporate, and I have also worked for myself. I mean, and now I'm working on becoming a local celebrity, so I need your help to do that. And that's just the funniest thing in the world to me, because I never would have thought that I would want to be known for anything, in that way. But I do, because I love solar so much. And there is a space right now, there is a space for someone, namely me, to enter into and figure out how to bring support and customer service, or service in general, to people who already have solar and they have a problem with it. And then there's also a space for me to step into and educate homeowners and business owners as to how and why solar energy works, how and why to make it make sense for you. Because every home, hear me, every home is not a good candidate for solar energy. And that's for a variety of reasons. Maybe you've got too much shading. Maybe you don't want to cut down 3 and 4 and 5 trees just so that you can have solar. Maybe your roof, the pitch of your roof, is at an improper angle that will not support solar panels. Um, Notice that whenever you do make the solar energy purchase, that south facing is the absolute best direction for your panels. So if we can get the majority of them on the south facing side of your roof, that will be good. East and west facing direction is also good. However, north facing roof is not ideal, but sometimes you do have to put them there if you need, how do you say, if you need a lot of panels. Like on my home, I have 54 panels, and I have absolutely no panels on the north side of my home, because on the north side of your home, you usually are not getting any direct sunlight. For me and my home, that area is shaded, but my south facing, east and west, is excellent. I mean, I have no trees. I have got good direct um, sunlight. So it works for me. And I'm telling you, when you make the switch to solar energy, it definitely will work if you know how to work it. And that's what I'm here to help you with. Some of you may have solar energy, solar panels on your home, but maybe you don't know how to talk to the electricity companies to make sure that you are getting the best buyback. I talked to one company. Let's see, they were going to charge me 10.35 cents per kilowatt. That's what I would be paying. And then for my overproduction, they were going to buy it back at 9 cents. Okay, you can already see there's a deficit because 10 is more than 9, and 10 times 5 is 50, but 9 times 5 is what? 45. So that was going to create a deficit for me. So there was no need to go any further in conversation with them. And you have to make sure that you are going to get credit that rolls over. So if your overproduction pays for everything and there is still some credit left, make sure that that credit rolls over, okay, into the next month. So that means next month you will have a slight bit of credit left over from this month, plus that will be added to whatever your production is for this month, which gives you a little bit more to play with. So things like that you have to be sure of. And I'm going to tell you all, I have been doing this for 2 years. I've been selling solar energy for 2 years. And when I first started, my head was so messed up because I didn't understand all these little things that they were telling me. Different companies and people, installers that I was working with. Okay, yeah, they want you to come and sell and add to their bottom line. And you're trying to understand, okay, but why is this happening? And what does a tax credit mean? You're telling me that the tax credit is 30% of whatever the cost of the solar system is. And let's just say that tax credit is $8,000. So you're telling me that when it's time to file my taxes, that I have this tax credit and I'm going to get that money back. I had a hard time with that one because people are not honest about how they explain that to you. When they sit at your table, and I'm talking about other solar reps, and I'm not saying that all of them are not telling the truth, but I am saying that it is easy, real easy, to stop short of saying you may not get that money back in your hand. But if it took me a long time to decipher, it's a tax credit. What does credit mean? Credit mean I can use it if I need it. So if you owe taxes, that credit will go towards paying what you owe. If you don't owe taxes, that credit ain't nothing but a piece of paper. It's just a number in the sky. It's magic, really, because it doesn't mean anything till it means something. And that's a funny piece right there because I have a brother-in-law who is in the financial space. And, we talk about a lot of things. And at one point, I was an insurance adjuster and we would talk. And he said to me one day, well, Robin, you don't need insurance until you need insurance. And that's a true fact. You pay for it, but you cannot use it until you need it. That 30% tax credit that the government is giving to people who buy solar panels, it's there, but it's only available if you have a liability, if you owe taxes. Then yes, you can use it. Now, I'm not a CPA. I don't pretend to know anything about taxes, but what I'm saying to you, sometimes it is possible that you will get money back in your hands if you are a W-2 worker and they have been taking taxes out all year. And then when it's time to do your taxes and let's just say you owe $5,000 and you've got a tax credit there of $8,000. Well, that tax credit can be used to pay off your liability of $5,000 and then all of the money that you have paid in during the year. It's a great possibility that you will get that money back in your hand. But don't buy into the government has a 30% tax incentive that at the end of the year you will be able to use and get back in your hand. That's not true. And another thing, I know that you see all these commercials on TV and you hear the ads on the radio. And when you log into Facebook and YouTube, you'll hear, stop. Ever thought about going solar? Don't do it until you listen to this commercial. The government will pay for solar panel systems for homeowners who live in this particular zip code, blank, blank, blank. Okay. I have heard those commercials and I have called. And when I call and I get somebody on the line, I want to know how the government is paying for me to have a solar panel system on my home. Well, then they will say, well, let me take some information and then I will direct you to the person who can answer all of your questions. So they'll get your information, your name, your address, your email, and then, okay, you qualify. Now they pass you on to an actual solar salesperson. He gets on the line. I had one to ask me, how can I help you today? I'm like, what do you mean? How can you help me? Well, what can I do for you? Well, what do you do? I'm like, I called you because I heard a commercial that said that the government is paying for the installation of solar panel systems in my area. That's why I'm calling you, because that's what you do. But what I realized, and I learned this early, those are lead generators. They are simply wanting people to call. Those commercials, they are to generate leads. They pique your interest with the idea that the government is going to pay for it. And possibly the government is going to give you money back when you make this purchase. So the purpose of those commercials is to generate leads. They generate the leads, you call, they qualify you with a few questions, and then they pass you on. When they pass you on, then, they're coming with the sales pitch. They want to figure out if they can get an appointment to come and sit with you and perhaps you buy solar. So if you hear that, don't believe it unless you have qualified it, because this is how people get taken advantage of. And listen, the purchase of a solar panel system is not cheap. Okay? It's not cheap. And even though you're going to be financing it and you're going to be using the same money that you would have been using to pay your high electricity bill anyway. So it's not really new money out of your pocket. This is money that is allocated every month for your electric bill. Okay? So in that sense, it could possibly be a bill swap. Like for me, my average utility bill, my average electric bill was like $328. Because I have enough panels on my home to offset my energy usage a little bit more than 100%. I'm offset at like 104%, I believe. So that gives me a little bit more than 100%, which means that, yes, my average bill was $328, but the bill that I paid to the finance company for my solar is a little bit more. It's closer to the 400 mark, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because what I'm paying today, or what I would have been paying 3 years ago, $328 on an average, every year the price per kilowatt goes up. So electricity gets more expensive over the years. So because I now have a solar panel system on my roof producing the energy that I use in the daytime, my energy cost is fixed. And that's what you want to do. You want to fix it so that every year is you're not paying more and more and more, because you have to renew your contract. And now instead of paying 9.6 cent per kilowatt, you're paying 10.35 cent per kilowatt. So you can kind of understand how in the next 20 years you're going to be paying approximately what your system would cost you today. So you would be paying that much or more. So let's just say if your system would cost you $35,000, then it's possible that over 20 years you're going to pay that anyway. So are you going to pay that to fix your energy costs now, or are you just going to pay it and rent your energy from the electricity company? When you understand this, you can see how it makes sense. And that's all we're talking about, is making solar energy make sense for the masses. You, the homeowner, the consumer, you are the masses. This industry, just like everything else pretty much, is dependent on us to buy into it. We can either buy into it with a little knowledge, or buy into it just because we're keeping up with the Joneses, or we can buy into it because we really understand it and we understand how it's going to benefit us and our families, and also how it's going to really help the planet. So there are lots of reasons to consider when it's time to make that switch. But here's what I want you to understand. Excuse me for a moment. Here's what I want you to really understand. You might not be interested in solar energy right now. You may not want those things on top of your roof because you don't like the way they look. You may not ever believe that you want solar. But what I want you to understand is that's the way the world is moving. You remember when, everybody was driving Fords and Chevrolets, or Fords. That was the only game in town. Okay? Then there came others, right? So now we have a choice as to what type of automobile we drive. You remember back before there were debit cards, and many people didn't even have credit cards, but credit cards came on the scene before debit cards. When it was decided that we're going to control money by using these cards, and kind of become a cashless system, everybody, even me, I fought tooth and nail. I'm going to always use my cash. I don't want a debit card or whatever. But now I have a debit card, just like you. I got one. You remember when, our bills came in the mail, and then we would write a paper check, and we would put that check in an envelope and lick a stamp and put it in the mail, and it would get there, and we would get credit for that. Now, everybody wants you to be paperless. Don't nobody want to send you a paper bill, and they don't want your paper check. Also, remember when the idea of no child left behind in the school system came about here in Texas? Other states may have other slogans, but for us in Texas, it was no child left behind. And then the introduction of computers in the school system. We didn't know what a computer was. We didn't know how to type. Most of us didn't even know how to type, especially men. I know my husband didn't know how to type when we first got a computer, but, we got a typing program, and now he types as well as anybody I know. But no child left behind. Computers were introduced. Then, after a while, you heard them start saying, every home will have a computer. Now, stay with me because I'm going somewhere with this. Every home will have a computer. It's been about 15, 20 years ago. And now what? Every home has a computer, and some homes have 3 and 4 and 5 computers. And we brag about the systems that we have. Some of us have these fancy ones with water cooling systems, and some of us are now building them from scratch, and we don't even have an IT degree. Last but not least, last but not least, solar is coming. And I'm not going anywhere because when it's time for you to make your purchase, I'm going to be right here, ready to help you understand how to make the best decision. It's already been decided. We're going solar. Every home will have solar rooftops, and there's no way around it. It's still new. We're still working out the bugs, and there are those of you out there who have already gone solar and you have problems. Your system is not working properly, it's not producing properly. Whatever that problem is, you have it. And if you want to correct it, call me, Robin Fahmy, 214-497-7440. If you are listening and you know someone who has solar on their roof and they're having a problem with it, share this live with them. We're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube. So share this information because I promise you, you're going to need to understand it. And that is exactly why I am here. So if you're listening and if you have questions, call me. You'll be live. Let me see if I have any messages or anything. I do not, but that's okay. My number is 214-497-7440. Wow, it's 7:28. I'm telling you, I always get right to the minute almost when I am like wondering what time it is, and my hour is almost gone. So I want to leave you with this. I am so happy and so grateful that I get to sit here and talk to you about solar energy and how to make it make sense for you. I love solar energy. It is truly, truly, truly my passion. My passion found me. It's not something that I was looking for. It found me, and I answered the call. And because of that, I am happy and I am grateful because I know that it is going to be as good for me as it will be for you once you make the switch. So, what I'll say to you is give it some thought, switch to solar. It will work if you work it. And I am here for you, Robin Fahmy, Better Me, Better You, Solar Energy. Okay. I've got a question. If one buys solar panels outright, no finances, can you explain the need for having an electric company? Well, you will always have to have an electric company because you have to have someone that does your billing. That's really all they are for, is to do your billing, because solar is not connected with okay, let me start over. If you wanted to live completely off the grid, that means you're not connected to an electric company. Usually when that happens, you are not in the city, it's rural. So yes, you can be completely off the grid. But usually in the cities, because you have a meter attached to your home, you will be connected with a billing service, because Even though you're solar, unless you have you buy it outright, the financing has nothing to do with it. So you've paid for your solar outright. You have to have a battery that would store your overproduction, which means that instead of pulling any energy from the grid, then you would use your production from your battery at night. If you don't have a battery, then at night you're pulling from the grid. So you would have to be connected to an electric company because you're pulling from the grid at night. And so that has to be accounted for. It's a good question, and I'm going to research that a little bit further because I do know that you can be off the grid, usually in rural areas, not in the cities. But I'll find that out. I hope that answers your question. Is if you don't have a battery, you become just like everybody else at night. You're pulling from the grid, and so that energy has to be accounted for, and that is the energy that your overproduction, your credits pay for. Is that it? Okay. Excellent, excellent question. Thank you so much. And like I said, my time is almost up, but feel free to give me a call. Anyone who is listening, I will always answer. If I don't answer, I will definitely return the call. 214 497 7440. Stay cool. See you next week.